Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley. My name is Reverend Kiya Heartwood. My pronouns are she, they, and we're so happy you're here. I'm so happy they won the game. I'm even happy Oklahoma got beat. Life is good. Anyway. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to have a UU 101 sermon, and even if you've been around a while, it's not bad to go over that stuff again. But we're so happy that you're here, and we're going to start out by singing out of the Teal hymnal. So you want to get out the Teal hymnal. It's number 1009, Meditation on Breathing, and everybody in the choir has been practicing, so we have all the parts. So we're going to teach you all the parts, and you pick the one you want. If you're not feeling like remembering the words, you just go breathe in, breathe out. You can do that the whole song. First part. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Y'all keep singing whichever part you like.
Good morning. Welcome on this beautiful day to the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Brazos Valley, or if you like things short, the UUCBV or the Brazos UU. My name is Carolyn Clark, and it's my privilege to be your worship assistant this morning. We are a welcoming congregation, which means we celebrate and welcome all people across diversities of race, gender, sexual identities, age, ability, immigration status, and belief. We are also a congregation working for reproductive justice. So whoever you are, wherever you have come from, and wherever you are on life's journey, you are welcome here.
Our call to worship this morning comes from our friend Michelle LaGrave, who's the minister now in Phoenix, Arizona. And she says, "We come to religious community from many paths and with diverse needs. If you have come here seeking comfort, may your pain be soothed. If you come here looking for answers, may you find new questions. If you come here seeking purpose, may your call be awakened. And if you've come here hoping to build a new way, may the path open before you." Michelle LaGrave.
It's time to light our chalice, and our chalice lighter is Jimmy. Jimmy, who is wearing the most beautiful dress this morning. Come on, Jimmy. She is beautiful, is she not? Please say the chalice lighting words with me. We light the chalice, the symbol of our Unitarian Universalist faith, as a beacon of hope for all who seek justice, dignity, and compassion, and in celebration of the life of truth and meaning we share together. And our affirmation statement: love is the spirit of this church, and service is its gift. This is our great covenant. To seek the truth in love and to help one another.
As Unitarian Universalists, we believe there's a spark of the divine in all the beings, including you all. And this is your opportunity to say hi to the beings you don't know the names of, especially. Make a special effort to take that risk and say howdy to the people you don't recognize, okay? And I will let you know when it's over. If you are really, really shy, you can cover your up and look kind of mean, and nobody will bother you. Have at it.
Good morning. Thanks, Jules. Morning. Hold on, I think there's a little spill, so we'll wait a sec. Feel free to chat with your neighbor during this time. Are we good? All right, good morning. Okay, I heard a really good morning back there from a small voice. Was that you, Z? Yes. Yes. All right, we're gonna try again. On the count of 3, we're gonna say good morning. 1, 2, 3. Good morning. I love it. Oh, and Teddy added Allison. I am Allison, and I get to tell a wonderful story every week. And today our story is called Sophia's Guest, and it is about the spirit of mystery, or love, or justice, which some people call God. So this is Sophia's Guest, and it's by Becky Brooks. Once upon a time, there was a teacher named Sophia. Sophia had been a teacher in the town where she lived for so long that some of the kids she first had in her class grew up, and some of them had children of their own and sent them to her class too. Nearly everyone in the town who knew Sophia, they loved her, not only because she was an excellent teacher, but also because she was very, very kind. One day, when Sophia got to work, she found a note on her desk. The note read, "Dear Sophia, I will be around tomorrow. I wonder if I might stop by your house for tea tomorrow afternoon. Your friend, God." At first, Sophia thought that was a joke. But the more she thought about it, the more she realized that if it was a joke, it wasn't a very funny joke, and she couldn't think of anyone who would play a joke on her like that. Then she thought, what if it's not a joke? What if God was really coming to her house tomorrow afternoon? Sophia thought she should get ready, just in case. On her way home from work, she stopped first by the store and bought one of those mats that had in big letters, "Welcome," just in case. When she got home, she cleaned her house from the top to the bottom. She brought in fresh flowers from the garden and put them in a vase in the living room. She cleaned and cleaned until everything was sparkly. That seems very relatable if God is coming to your house. In the morning, Sophia realized she didn't know what God liked to eat, so she baked bread and made a casserole and fruit salad and baked some cookies too. And what about tea? Did God like hot tea or iced tea? She thought she better make both. And what if God's favorite thing in the whole world was lemonade? She thought she might make some of that too. She was so nervous. She didn't even know what to expect. Just then, there was a knock at her door. Sophia's heart went pat, pat, pat. She took a big breath, opened the door slowly, and on the other side was the mayor of the town. "Hello, Sophia. I was walking by and smelled the delicious, fresh-baked bread." Sophia said, "I'm so glad you're here. Come in, come in. I'm expecting a very, very important visitor who you might want to meet. Please come in and make yourself at home." Sophia and the mayor sat having a nice discussion when there was another knock at the door. Sophia's heart again went pat, pat, pat. She took a deep breath, opened the door slowly, and on the other side was a group of children from her class. "Hello, Miss Sophia. We were walking by and noticed the smell of fresh-baked cookies." Sophia said, "I am so glad you're here. Come in, come in. I am expecting a very important visitor who you might want to meet. Please come in and help yourself to some cookies." The children were giving the mayor some much-needed advice when there was a knock at the door. Sophia's heart went pat, pat, pat. Deep breath, open door. It was the entire women's group from church. Hello, Sophia. We heard the tea kettle and laughter and thought you might be having a party. Sophia said, I'm so glad you're here. Come in, come in. I'm expecting a very important guest who you might want to meet. Come in and make yourself at home. All afternoon, people stopped by Sophia's house, lured by the yummy smells and happy sounds. The townspeople filled her house upstairs and downstairs and overflowed into the backyard and the front yard. As they got hungry, they made dinner together and ate as the sun set and the moon rose. It was a great party. People were playing games and telling stories and baking and playing music and talking together. Sophia had such a nice time that she completely forgot about her very important guest. Even as she waved goodbye to her friends at the end of the night, she felt only contentment at having such a lovely party. In the morning, though, Sophia woke up and quickly remembered everything. She was so confused. Whatever happened to God? All during her walk to work, she tried to figure out what had happened. Along the way, she smiled and waved to the people she ran into that had been at the party. She thought to herself that she really should do that sometime again. When Sophia arrived at work, she was surprised to find another note on her desk. It read, Dear Sophia, I had such a wonderful time yesterday. The bread was delicious. The cookies were divine. Tea mixed with lemonade is my very favorite. Thank you for being such a wonderful host. I hope we can do it again soon. Love, God. So may we remember that the spirit of love or justice, the spirit of mystery, which some people call God, can be found all around if we look for it. And now I would love to invite my younger UUs to religious education. And would all of you please sing us out with This Little Light of Mine?
Oh, this little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. Now we're going to sing another song out of the teal hymnal because it's that kind of day. Number 1047. We're going to sing it in Spanish twice through and then in English twice through. And the choir people know it, so if you're nervous about this new song you don't know, you might want to sit next to somebody who's in the Love and Joy choir. Nada te turne, nada espanta, nada sostene, nada la falta, nada te turne, nada espanta, candles turne. Solo Dios Padre. Now's the time in our service where we light candles for our joys and sorrows, or if you want to just use the silence to talk to yourself, that's fine. If you want to talk to God, this is a really good opportunity, and we are lucky today because Ivy's going to play for us, and we want to thank Andrew for playing today as well. You all know how to do it. If you don't know how to do it, follow everybody else, and it'll make sense.
So if you haven't heard this song, if you're new to UU Life, I invite you to open up your hymn book to number 123. It's called Spirit of Life. It's a beloved classic. So when we sing old songs that are familiar and comforting, it can be very grounding and tie us to those who came before. But it's also very UU to have fun, switch things up, and breathe new life and new interpretations to old pieces. So as I play around with the rhythms and dynamics and try some things out, see how it changes the feeling of this living prayer for you.
Good morning. Whether you've been coming here for years or whether today is your first visit, I want to say welcome. You belong here, not because you already know the answers, but because you're willing to ask some questions. So today we're going to kind of have a UU 101. There's a lot of new people I know, so those of y'all who have been around a while, it's maybe a refresher, but that's all right. So it's kind of a theology lecture, kind of a recruitment pitch, and kind of an invitation to remember what makes this faith unique and what it asks of us. When people first walk into a UU congregation, they often say, what do UUs believe? And what does the UU stand for? It's a good question, and the answer is, it depends. We are a faith tradition built not around creeds, but around covenants, the promises we make to each other about how we will live or how we'd like to live, how we like to love, and how we like to search for the truth. Our unity is not in belief, but in relationship. We don't ask, what do you believe? Well, you do, but don't do it. We ask, how should we live together? How should we help heal the world? Unitarian Universalism is the child of two heresies, Christian heresies. The Unitarians said that God is one, not three, that love and reason belong together. And the Universalists said that love wins, that a loving God would not condemn anyone to eternal punishment. That is my favorite one. Just the idea that God wouldn't burn you is a pretty reasonable thought. In the 1960s, those two movements joined forces and became, not because they agreed on everything, but because they shared a vision. That truth continues to be revealed and that no one is beyond the reach of love. That sounds right. So here we are, descendants of heresies and dreamers, peoples who dare to say that the sacred cannot be contained in one book, one church, or one creed. What we believe and don't. If you ask 100 UUs about God, you'll get at least 150 different answers. Some of us are theists, humanists, earth-based, Buddhists, Christians, atheists, mystics, all of the above. Some of us are just contrary on different days. But we share something deeper than doctrine. We share values, the inherent worth and dignity of every person, the interconnected web of all existence of which we are a part, the right of conscience, and the use of reason in the search of truth, and the call to justice, equity, and compassion in human relationships. And really, I would like to spread that out to past humans, to everything. So justice, equity, and compassion in all relations. These principles aren't carved in stone, they're living commitments. They guide how we raise our children, how we vote, how we care for each other, and how we show up for a hurting world. One of the beautiful and sometimes messy things about UUism is that it's a living tradition. That means it's going to change, y'all. So once you get used to it, it's going to change. Get used to it. We don't inherit a finished faith. We create it together in community every single day. We light a chalice not as a symbol of final truth, but as a reminder to keep the flame alive, to keep learning, keep growing, keep listening. As one of our hymns says, we are building a new way. We are building a new way. Not just a new way of worship, but a new way of being human with honesty, compassion, and courage. We're about freedom. Now, let's be honest, freedom isn't easy. We can see that every day and on the news every single day. It's simpler to be told what to believe. It's much harder to live with the responsibility of freedom, to discern for ourselves what is true and right, and to do so with humility. A lot of people miss that day of school, the humility day. As James Luther Adams, one of our great UU theologians, said, church is the place where you get to practice what it means to be human. That's what we're doing here, practicing being human, practicing love, justice, and forgiveness, practicing community in a culture that so often forgets how. So our history starts with early Christianity and really heats up more about 400 years ago with Michael Cervantes. Now, Michael Cervantes was a Spanish physician, theologian, and scientist. He actually figured out how the circulation of the blood works. You don't hear about that a lot, but it's true. And he wrote a book that said that the Trinity was not in the Bible and that God is one. So he was kind of against the Trinity, and this was a very radical idea, and it got him thrown out of lots of countries, and then it got him arrested in Calvin's Geneva and burned at the stake in 1553 with a copy of his book chained to his leg. A few years later, a priest named Francis David, convinced the king of Transylvania that people should be free to choose their religion. And the king issued the Edict of Torda in 1568 that guarantees religious tolerance. Not for everybody, but for 4 different faiths in Transylvania. It's still there. You can go and check it out. David declared, "We need not think alike to love alike." This is one of our main principles to this day, and there is still a Unitarian Church of Transylvania. In England, Theophilus Lindsay opened a Unitarian chapel in 1774, and one of his friends was Joseph Priestley. Yes, oxygen, Joseph Priestley. The man who discovered oxygen and also was an early Unitarian came to the U.S. when people burned his house and his laboratory and his church to the ground in Birmingham, England. And he came to Philadelphia and started one of the first Unitarian fellowships there. It's still there. You can go there too. In the U.S., Universalism arrived in New Jersey in 1770 with an English grieving preacher named John Murray. He left England when both his wife and child had died suddenly, and he was given up God, he was given up preaching. But the ship landed on a sandbar, and they were stuck, and he went with the sailors to get water, and they ended up at this farmer's place named Thomas Potter. And Thomas Potter said, "Yeah, God told me to build a chapel and that the minister was coming. It must be you." He said, "Well, you know, we're going to New York." So he said, "Well, if you're still on the sandbar on Sunday, you're preaching." And that's how Universalism got to the United States. It's true. You can go there too. So Thomas Potter said, someone who would preach a love too big to fail, that's what God told him to wait for. To preach a love that was too big to fail. Later, Hosea Ballou, a self-taught preacher from Vermont, would reject hell entirely. He preached, if God is truly love, then all souls are destined for salvation. I like him a lot. Those of you all know your UU history. He and William Ellery Channing had churches like 2 blocks from each other, and they passed each other every day for 20 years, never spoke to each other. In 1819, a Boston Bluebird named William Ellery Channing preached his famous Baltimore sermon. He announced that Unitarians believed in one God, the moral nature of humanity, and the use of reason in religion. Your brain was a gift from God, according to early Unitarians, and that you should use it to read the Bible and make decisions about what you believe for yourself. Ralph Waldo Emerson starts the Transcendentalist movement and alters Unitarianism forever with the belief that people should trust their own personal experience of the divine. That's about the 1840s, 1830s. Along with these other Transcendentalists like Margaret Fuller, Henry David Thoreau, and Theodore Parker. Now, Parker took preaching of social justice into the streets with direct involvement in abolition, women's rights, and all kinds of movements toward equality. In one of his sermons, which MLK Jr. would quote a century later, Parker wrote, "I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one, but I am sure it bends toward justice." In the 1900s, Unitarian and Universalists widened the sources that we draw from. So we opened it up to whatever inspires you and helps your soul move forward. All the sources. Hinduism, Buddhism, all of it. That's why you have all the symbols of all the faiths in our Fred. That makes sense, right? And then we merged in 1961 and made one faith. Since the merger, we continue to grow and evolve our living faith into LGBTQ rights, women's rights, and the interconnectedness of all existence. Our faith is never finished. So if you're wondering whether there's a place for you here, there is. You don't have to check your questions at the door. You don't have to pretend to believe something you don't. You don't have to believe anything. You just have to have a will to be in community and try to get along with other people. It's good practice for the world. That's what we're doing here. You don't even have to have your life figured out. In fact, none of us do. This is a faith where your story matters, where your truth adds to our truth, and where together we make meaning. So welcome to Unitarian Universalism, a faith grounded in love, guided by reason, and sustained by community. A faith that believes revelation is not sealed and that the holy can be found in each other, in the world, in butterflies, and in the work of our hands. May we continue to build this faith together as people committed to love, truth, and hope. And so what does this history ask of us today? Our ancestors asked that we keep the flame alive, that we continue to work to the long work of building a faith grounded not in fear, but in freedom, consciousness, and compassion. That we live as if our choices bend the moral arc of the universe just a little closer toward justice. Because the story of Unitarian Universalism is not over. It's our turn now. It's up to us. Amen. Blessed be.
This is part of all churches. Now let an offering be taken to sustain and strengthen this place, which is sacred to so many of us, a community of memory and of hope, for we are now the keepers of the dream. This church shares the proceeds of the offering plate donation every week to help support important nonprofit organizations with which we work. The 4 groups we voted to support this year's donation, we voted at our last congregational meeting in May. So the 4 groups are Tiny Hope Village, Brazos Interfaith Immigration Network, the Pride Center, and Unlimited Potential. Please be as generous as you can.
I wrote this song earlier this year after the inauguration when things kind of started to go downhill and they just keep going and going. So I've been singing it a lot to myself lately. And I know some people come to church because there's food, and some people come to church because there's good songs and good sermons. But I've lately been coming because there's community. So that's what this song is about and what the UU Church is for me. They want us afraid, They want us alone. They want us to stay tucked away in our homes. But we're holding tight and sharing the spark. It only takes one light to push back the dark. I've got your back, and I know you've got mine. And together we'll hold up the sky. If your sky is falling down, you know we will all come round. We'll build a heaven here in the middle of hell. And if you hear calling out, I hope you will follow the sound to someone who needs you near, some pain to dispel. There's nothing they fear as much as our joy, so let cheer and laughter and love be our ploy. Let us plant seeds and learn how to sow. If there's something you need, will you please let me know? Because I've got your back, and I know you've got mine. And together we'll hold up the sky. If your sky is falling down, you know we will all come round. We'll build a heaven here in the middle of hell. And if you hear calling out, I hope you will follow the sound to someone who needs you near, some fear to dispel. I know you're scared, just trying to get by. Gods know we have plenty of reasons to cry, but also to laugh, to see eye to eye. Come on, this is not how democracy dies. If your sky is falling down, you know we will all come round. We'll build a heaven here in the middle of hell. And if you hear calling out, I hope you will follow the sound to someone who needs you near, some pain to dispel. I've got your back, and I know you've got mine. And together we'll hold up the sky. Yeah, I've got your back, and I know you've got mine. And together we'll hold up the sky.
Thanks, Ivy. Okay, we have a bunch of announcements, some hot off the presses. When you go into the Fred, actually, if you're in a place where you can turn around and look through that window, there are 2 quilts, one of which has this very cute black and white kitty on the back, but the fronts are incredible, and they can be yours, both if you're really lucky, but definitely one of those can be yours if you buy the winning raffle ticket. For the small quilt, each ticket is $1. For the big quilt, each ticket is $2. So collect your dollar bills or your Venmo numbers and see Allison and get your tickets whenever you see Allison. She's our ticket woman for the time.
You get 6 tickets for $5 of the one. I know, I didn't write it down.
Get closer to the mic.
They can hear me. The smaller quilt, for $5, you get 6 tickets. For the large quilt, for $10, you get 6 tickets. Just saying.
Do you know anything about using a microphone jar?
Yes.
I thought maybe you did.
Thank you.
Thanks, Meg. I also heard tell, this one isn't written down, but I heard tell there was a football game yesterday. Did you hear about that? Well, we made a lot of money, but we don't yet know how much. So I would like you to think of a big number. And let's just take 2 seconds to think together of a big number coming to us. Okay, it's going to be good. Our UUCBV art gallery is currently holding its first art show with Anita Cannon's watercolors. I hope you've had an opportunity to go down the hall and view those. They are so beautiful. This show runs until October 15th, which is very soon. A new show will follow called Flights of Fancy that will open October 17th at 6 p.m. with wine and cheese and other goodies to celebrate this. It features illustrations from Kathy Apel's books. And if you've ever seen any of her books, you know how beautifully illustrated they are. These won't be for sale, but they will be for viewing and just taking in the beauty. October 18th is a big day. The Pride Center Oktoberfest is going to be here at UUCBV with many vendors from 1 to 6. It continues after dinner with a No Kings World Singing Day. This is a No Kings World Singing Day open to all. And the songs, I've seen the list. They're wonderful, very diverse. Lyrics are provided. Musicians who want to help see Reverend Kiya. The event is from 7 to 8:30 for all ages and voices, and that event is absolutely free. Our annual Boo at the UU is coming October 1st. We have a really busy month on our hands. Donate desserts or carving pumpkins. Volunteer to help on the day of. But we could use some help before that. So please help us finish mulching our back path so we can haunt it for the Boo. And kudos to Nathan, and who else has been working on that path? Liz and Bryce. Yeah, the work is going on, but they need more help. So if you can help shovel mulch and carry cardboard, you're needed. We need cardboard. And there is a pile, usually, beside the mulch pile. You can just drop your cardboard off there. So it's handy for all the workers. Okay, last announcement. The book club today meets at noon. The title of the book being discussed is The Light Eaters, and they will meet in the chapel here. And coffee hour has lots of good things to eat. So as you first look at those beautiful quilts, then check out everything that's on the buffet table. Okay, now please join me in extinguishing the chalice. Reverend Kiya, we need you to do the actual honors while we say, "We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we gather together again."
Please sing with me if you choose to. Remember the way of the wind and breathe and blow. Remember the way of the fire and sparkle and glitter and glow. Remember the way of the water and ebb and flow. Remember the way of the earth and grow. Go in peace.